Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap Session for Thursday, July the 21st, 2016. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, then drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. This is a subscription room, so if you're interested in checking it out, send me an email to quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There is no website, there's no blog, this is not a commercial venture. We do this live each day in these go-to sessions in the pre-market, and then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the day. Before we get going, please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a environment of self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. Okay, so let's first take a look at yesterday. Our main hypothesis, and again, I had a couple of people email me about why I have 4 different hypotheses. Well, the reason is I don't know what the market's going to do. Nobody can predict the market. But what I can do is I can predict what the market will do in certain circumstances as an if, then, that. If this happens, then this is probable, and I'm going to do that. So if, then, that. So we have 4 hypotheses based on what happens with the open and as we move forward in the RTH session, so that I can gauge and adjust my trade plan accordingly, and I've already planned it out, so I don't have to do a lot of work. I know if this sets up, then I can switch to a different hypo. Yesterday, our main hypothesis was a move down into the prior day range, and I was looking for buyers to step in somewhere down in the range. I was actually looking for them to dip down a little bit further and test the value area high as my first area that I would consider taking the long. And my main hypothesis was a move down, finding initiative buyers somewhere in the upper range of the prior day, and then rotating up into what was the Globex all-time high at 2168. And we didn't quite get lower, and then we came back to the mid. Now, I unfortunately missed this whole move, well, most of it, because of the fact that we had the impulse move down and then we came back to the mid. That's usually sets up for a continuation wave down, so I was still looking for them to get a failed breakout and then hit the mid and then come back down and hit some of these lower targets before they rotated up. Unfortunately, they broke out, tested the mid, came back, got one tick inside of the range, and then the buyers stepped in and rejected the range, and they just ripped it up and had this 8.5 point rotation, and there was just really nothing to do. I wasn't going to chase it. So I missed most of the room. And that's trading. I mean, sometimes you're just going to miss the move, and if you have discipline, you usually don't like to trace. And then we just didn't have any pullbacks. I mean, I was looking for a pullback, after this to come back down to the mid, and I was going to get long in around that 62, 63 level, and it didn't pull back. And I finally just plugged my nose, and I got long at 65, 75, and rode it up. But then it just got up here, and it just went sideways, and it put in a triple top up at 69.75. So we went up, as we've been saying right from the beginning of Monday, in our Monday morning session. Our main goal for the week was to go up and equalize what was the RTH high at 64.25, and go up and equalize the 2 highs between the RTH and the Globex by going and hitting that Globex high at 68. And we did, and then we put in a new high at 69 and created this weak high. And we created this P shape with the VPOC shifting up into the 67.25, and then overnight we went in and put in another new high at 21.70.25. and so far we're just chopping around up here. So main hypotheses played out, and we just basically went up into that level at around 68 and chopped the rest of the day. And really, I think we had a 3.25 point range, from 11 o'clock Eastern all the way into the close. It was just impossible to try to trade that unless you're scalping for ticks. So let's take a look at the news for the day. We had the minimum bid rate for euro, and it came out unchanged. We've got ECB President Mario Draghi speaking right now. Wholesale sales month over month in Canada came out much better at 1.8 versus 0.2. And then the Philly Fed was a miss. We had 5.1, came out at minus 2.9, but unemployment claims beat, coming out at 253 versus 271. 9 o'clock and 8 minutes thereabouts. We've got HPI month over month, expected 0.4, and then 10 o'clock we've got existing home sales at expected 5.48, and CB leading index at 0.2 expected. And then 10:30 we've got natural gas, and then Japan we've got flash manufacturing tonight at 10 o'clock. So we've got a bit of news this morning. The big one has already passed. We didn't really get much of anything. We basically just are chopping around. We just had a VPOC shift down to the 65.50 area, and we created a double distribution overnight. It is earnings session, so just taking a quick look at the earnings. Again, we had most of the earnings are either a hit or a beat. So the earnings look good. Growth is a little bit lower, but again, most of them have downgraded their estimates, so of course they're all going to beat. We've got some big ones coming in on the close tonight. We've got what do we've got? We've got Visa. We've got PayPal. I think we've got what was the other big one too? There's a bunch of them. And, we're right in the thick of things. American National, Southwestern Energy, Western Alliance. So a fair amount of earnings coming up. Did I say PayPal, Starbucks, so AT&T. So again, should be interesting on the close and in the early Globex tonight. Each morning I like to start my day same way. I go to a simple candlestick chart, start with the monthly, looking for slope and separation where we are, the strength of the trend, where the trend's being violated, and then work my way down into the intraday. You can see, we've had the strong trend, challenged at end of 15, beginning of 16, and now we go in, we put a new all-time high in the Globex. Again, expect this 21.70 to be tested in the RTH session. Don't know if it's going to happen today, but it is my main hypothesis. And then we're getting slope and separation now to the upside on the monthly, so we're getting a continuation pattern. On the weekly, we did not complete the FUBAR Mr. Sneaky that we've been watching since the beginning of the week. We've put in a new high, so we've got good slope, good separation. There is a bit of a technical gap, but price is starting to parallel and just continue this move up, and the trend is very much intact on the weekly. On the daily, same thing. Price is paralleling the 9 nicely. We've got good slope, good separation. The trend is very much intact on the daily. On the 4-hour, we kind of started to roll over, and we've tested the 9. We have not closed below it, so we have not violated it. If we do, the move down will be back to the 2160. That is a very key level for us. I'll show you why when we get to the composite. But we're starting to get slope and separation. The trend is intact on the 4-hour, although it is weakening. Going to the 1-hour, we did roll over, and we were starting a downward trend. They've now come up and tested the 20, but rejected the 20, and we're below the 9. So we are looking at a possibility of a continuation pattern. The target is 2160 down here as the next main target below. Again, I'll show you on the composite when we get there. Going to the 30-minute, you've got slope and separation, same thing on, on the move up. They failed at the 20, and we're back below the 9, and we're getting slope and separation to the downside. On the 15-minute, we got above the 9 and the 20, actually had a cross, and then we failed, and we're starting to get slope and separation and the continuation pattern down on the 15. And last but not least, the 5-minute, same thing. We had this strong downward trend, then they started rotating it back up towards that 67 and a quarter. 67 and a quarter was our VPOC at the end of the day. They got up to that area, and then sellers stepped in again, and now we're moving down, and we've got slope and separation, and we're trying right now to get back above the 9, and not having very much luck doing that. We've got an LVN at 66.75 to create a double distribution. We just recently had the VPOC shift from 67.75 overnight down to the 65 and a quarter. Looking at the big picture, of course, we had the breakout of the longer term microcomposite that ran from March 17th through to the breakout day on July the 8th. And since we've broken out, we've had several gaps. We've come up and we've created a 4-day microcomposite here, creating balance in around the 2160.50, and then we broke out of that balance and went up and put the Globex, the RTH all-time high at 69.75, and then further in the Globex at 70 and a quarter. And now we're coming back in, and we're just struggling right now at the 65.75, the CLVN. It's a pretty wide CLVN. The breakout, created the thin area of the composite here, which is basically, we had a P-shaped profile yesterday. This is basically the tail of the P. And if we can't get back above the 65.75, my main hypothesis takes us down back into the 60.50 and into this area. And this is a very blunt area of the profile. If I bring it to the front, you can see this is very blunt through the whole value. Value area high starts at 61 and a quarter, goes down to 54.50. So we can travel through value very easily if we get back into this area as they mature the auction in this area between the value of the 4 days. And then below that, basically, if we get below the 54 and 54.50, I'm expecting the 52, 52 and a quarter to be tested. And then if that doesn't hold and we get back inside of this 2-day microcomposite, I'm looking for a move down to test the 49 and a quarter with a break bringing us down to 2146. If I put a overall profile in this whole area, you can see we've created a triple distribution now, a smaller distribution up here that centers around that 67.50, and then the middle one around the 2160, and then the lower one around that 46. So key numbers right now: 67 and a quarter, 60.50, 54.50, and 46, with 49 as our warning line still up here, and then 38 as our key line in the sand. The 65.50, of course, is going to be important, because if we could hold above that, then we're above the value area of the 1, 2, 3, 7, 8 days, and above this key microcomposite LVN and value area high, and we rotate up into the 67.25, accept that price, and then go and equalize that high by breaking the RTH high at 69.75 and going and hitting that 70.25. We still have a zipper measured move up to 75.50. I'll talk about that in just 1 second. What I want to do right here is take a look at the overnight. What I'm going to do is I want to take this to a 30-minute. And what this is going to give me is it's going to give me the profiles of both the RTH and the Globex. So you can see that, you know, we accepted this price around the 55.50, 55.60 over several periods after going up and putting a VPOC in at 61. Then we come up, accept price a little bit higher here at 63, and then they come up here and put a VPOC in at 67, and it's now shifted overnight down to 65.25. There's still time if we go up there to get a shift back up to 67. There's not much difference between the 67 area, 67.75 to be exact, and the 65.25. So if we do get above the LVN overnight of 66.75, we could get a shift. You know, there's enough time still to do that. But right now, we do have a lower VPOC coming back towards that 61. And you know, basically in terms of the overnight numbers, we've got the overnight all-time Globex high at 70.25. It's also our overnight high. I'm just going to put it to the back because we know it's the overnight high. And then our overnight low is at 62.75, just below that 63 VPOC. And then our current VPOC is 65.25, which is just a couple ticks above the value area and just basically just below the key LVN right here from yesterday's P-shaped profile. And then we've that's about all the information I need. So we've got this LVN at 66.75. We've got the LVN here at 65.50, and then we've got the VWAP from yesterday here at 66. I'm actually going to use the lower number because we've got more going on there. You know, I'm going to use the 65.50 as my trade level, but I'm going to be conscious that we did have clear separation and you know, a bit of rejection here at 66.75. So I'm going to be careful on the long side, but I don't want to get short below the 66.75 and run into this LVN and IB high and VWAP from yesterday and have the value area low from yesterday just below it. So I'm actually going to incorporate right from the 66 down to 64.75 as my trade area, and I want to be careful on the upside, but I do not want to get short until I'm below that 64.75, and you know, wait for that to get broken before I take the short into the overnight low at 62.75. So that's all the information I need from the overnight session. Expand this out. Let's just take a quick look at, did I close that down? I did close that down. I want to take a quick look at the 9 o'clock news. It just came out. So HPI expected 0.4 came out at 0.2. Previous is 0.3. Market seems to like it. We're trading 66.75. So coming back up into testing that overnight LVN. If we get above that, look for them to pop back up into the 67.25. Maybe 67.75 and get the VPOC shift. So now that we've got this in place, we've got clear targets. Our main target below is going to be this 60.75. 60-50 I should say. That's wrong. Delete this. This is a target. And then below that, we've got the thin area. There's really not much to go by, but I'm going to use the naked close and the range low down here at 50, I'm sorry, a naked close and the range low down here at 58.50 as a trade area. And then below that, I'm targeting 55 with the value area from Tuesday down here at 53.50, and then a push down. I'm looking for a test of our key warning line with that target. Remember, there was that little microcomposite HVN here, which centers this thin area of price rejection at 50.50, and then our key warning line for lower price discovery down into the 46, and then 43 and a quarter. Right now, our 20-period daily ATR is running at 30.6, but again, I have to take out the outlier, which was the Brexit day of 120.5 points. So taking that out, our 19-period ATR is running at 25.76. So off of 21.70 and a quarter, I take off 25.86. It takes me down to 21.44.50 as our downside ATR target, and our upside ATR target off the low so far of 62.75 takes us up to 21.88.60, and that's interesting because we have a measured move on the weekly up at the 88.50. So we've got our daily upside ATR target basically matching up with our measured move that we've been looking at. And this is 75.50 should be. All right, and then our weekly ATR, which we have 2 days left, our weekly ATR is running at 53.6375 off of the weekly low that was put in at 21.51 and a quarter. Our weekly upside ATR target is still up here. But if you look at where we are, if we go 2 times the daily at 25.86, we're at 51.72 plus where we're trading right now, 21.6650. That takes us to 22.18. That clearly shows that we have daily range capabilities to reach the weekly upside ATR. We don't to the downside. Our downside ATR at 21.70 and a quarter weekly. Well, actually, we do have range to get down there. So minus the 53.6375, 21.1675. And it's down in that cluster. You know, we've got this cluster down here with these singles and the 50% retracement of the significant breakout candle. So 16.75 is our weekly downside ATR. So we'd still have room. We'd have to make 2 big moves today and tomorrow. We didn't make a big move off of the news at 8:30 Eastern, so hard to say whether or not we'll actually do it, but it's still within our capabilities. So our trade levels to the downside are pretty much set. Trade levels to the upside above the 69.75. I'm looking for that 70 and a quarter to get taken out and a new high put in, and then I'm going to be targeting the 72, and then the measured move. This is a zippered measured move. because we didn't violate the zipper yet. The impulse move up. Where does this come from? Let me just show you. This comes from this impulse move up, this zipper that we created, and the 61.8 extension above it. That's the zippered measured move. We do, and it doesn't get violated until we break the 58.50 here. We do have a zippered measured move that hasn't been violated. It's got to get above the 69.50. We do have a zippered measured move, and believe it or not, it's at 60.75. So if if we get back below the Keltner lower line, we're likely to move down back into that zippered measured move. So we've got a zippered measured move that's still valid to the upside. We still have one to the downside. But there's not much I can go on other than these measured moves above. So above 69.75, I just clearly want to be long. So what is my main hypothesis for the day? It's the same hypothesis that we've had every single day. I'm looking for an open auction. Well, this time we're going to open auction in range. I'm going to be looking to come down and test the 60 area and then find responsive buyers and rotate back up and go take out the Globex all-time high at 70.25. So Hypo 1 is an open auction in range, a move down to take out the overnight low, push through to the microcomposite VPOC, find responsive buyers down here, and then rotate back up through range and value and take out the 70.25. So same hypo that we've been running all week long. Hypo 2 is an open auction in range, hold inside value, take a trip through value, pop, take the Globex high out and get a false breakout, and somewhere up here fail, roll over, and start working our way down towards that 2060 and continuation wave, chop around in the 60 to 58 range and get continuation wave, with Hypo's 2 main target being down here at the 55.50. So Hypo 2 is opposite of Hypo 1, and again, just like we've had all week, they're pretty equally weighted. Normal auction tells us continuation because the buyers keep stepping in. So Hypo 1 gets a little bit more weight, but Hypo 2 is still a real possibility because we've moved so far, so fast since the Brexit low, and at some point in time, we've got to go back and do some repair. Hypo 3 is basically the same as yesterday, open auction in range, rotate down, test the value, and then pop up, come up into the 70, 69 area, and then get continuation wave and go up and hit our measured move at 75, chop there and get continuation up into the 80s. There is an 81.25 target too. I don't know why that came off. And so Hypo 3 is basically a continuation up towards the daily upside ATR and continue to move towards the 2200 area and get closer to the weekly 20-period ATR up. Hypo 4 is opposite, open auction in range, come up into the 67, fail somewhere between 67 and 69, leave the Globex all-time high out, and then get a strong move down and move and come all the way down and get a continuation pullback to, a retracement pullback down to the 49, chop there, and then get a late day probe down into the 46. And these hypos are all within our daily adjusted ATR range of 25.86. Even though our ranges are constricting, there's nothing for us to go and have a 25-point day move, into the weekend. Taking a look at the Keltner, our Keltner center line is at 65.75. We're just breaking below it, testing the Globex VPOC at 65.25. A move down to the lower Keltner will take us down into the 59.75 and hit that zippered measured move at 60.75. The extended move is 58.75. That'll take us down basically to the range low from yesterday in that 58.25 area. If we hold the or get back above the Keltner center line and move up to the upper Keltner, is going to take us to that Globex all-time high and the ES all-time high up at the 70.25. So again, Keltner is fitting within those hypos as well. Take a quick look at gold. Gold has come back, finding a little bit of balance right here. In around the 1320. We keep coming down and testing this 12. We had a Globex low down at the 1070. And they've since bounced back above the 1312, so we tested just below that. Key line in the sand is going to be that 1312. If we get below it again, I don't think the 1070 will hold, and we'll come down to this 1303 60 area, and probably more likely test the 1300 CLVN, and anything below that I'm looking for a move back down towards this 1286 1287 area. If we can hold this area, look for them to rotate back up into the balance around 22. Remember, that was the balance that we had accepted before the breakout and the move up. And we're likely to chop around in this area again, maybe even a continuation up into the microcomposite VPOC up here at the 32. But I expect gold to probably have a pretty tight range today and just basically chop between the 12 and the 2022 area. But if the 12 doesn't hold, then a continuation down into the 1303 and most likely 1300. So that's what I'm looking at. Went a little bit long today, but there was lots to talk about. This is going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.